Professor Siegel, happy holidays to you. Welcome to another Tech Corner.
Happy Friday. I'm in beautiful Florida, trying to relax a little bit. Just got out of a little bug, a little flu for a couple of days. Feeling a little run down today, but back at it as usual. Nothing,
Good.
a little vitamin D therapy.
Good. Yeah. What was your therapy yesterday? I saw that you had some IVs and you were getting pumped for some good stuff.
Oh yeah, they got these places where you can go and you can just get a bunch of vitamin B, bunch of vitamin C, and just everything. I've only done it a few times, but when I do it, it works. And man, it did cycle through me. We're so busy right now because we're out there spreading the good word about these bad actors and what to do, that my phone won't stop ringing. So the funniest thing about all this is people don't believe me. It's like, guys, I just spoke to somebody the other day that they didn't want to believe me, but it already happened to them. So
Yeah.
I said, guys, understand, I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just trying to spread the good word. It just says, here's what to look out for. Here's what you need to look at. The response to our white paper has been tremendous. I just said, just go to your provider and ask them for these. There's 7 things. One of them is the warranty, which is nobody's going to offer that except for us.
No.
And I said, get these 6 things in writing that you're covered. And that's what ended the conversation. He's like, you're right. That's a fair question.
It
And
is.
so phone's ringing off the hook. I don't have time. So to make a long story short, if I'm feeling under the weather, I got to get better fast. And so I got
Absolutely.
a quick therapy, and boy, it worked.
Nothing wrong with that at all. A little bit of self-love and self-care, especially when you're feeling run down.
Little
So
bit. If you watch my Facebook, you know how much I care about myself. I'm in the gym 4:30, 5 o'clock every morning. I don't drink. I don't smoke. My only bad habit is coffee and winning. I
yeah.
like to win. Winning is more fun than fun is fun.
I know, right? So let's talk about that, winning and bad actors. So a lot of companies are not winning that battle, right? They are choosing to throw risk and caution to the wind, and they're getting hit with ransomware through things like phishing scams and malware. And as you alluded to, a lot of these things are identified in a white paper that I'm going to put in the link after the show in the show notes. And so let's talk a little bit about that. But before we get too far down the road, just so everybody knows, this is live on Facebook and YouTube, 9:15 Eastern, every Friday, with the exception of the occasional holiday like Thanksgiving a couple weeks ago. But Kelly, let's dive in. So bad actors, cybersecurity issues, ransomware, phishing attempts, all of that. Tell me about what you're hearing about bad actors.
Well, we've heard it all being in the business. The number one item that the bad actors are using, they're using our kindness against us, so to speak. So they'll do a lot of spoofing, where it looks like an email comes to me from you and says, hey, will you send me 10 gift cards? And they just want to see, they don't care about the 10 gift cards. They like it, they'll take it, but they're trying to see how gullible you are, what else they can get. And if they can engage you in a conversations where you don't know it, they'll eventually figure out how to get into your network or do something very malicious. That's a win. I heard about it happened to somebody we know, where they engaged in a conversation with the finance person, the HR person, and actually changed the bank routing number for the CEO's check. So they billed him for the check. And we went, all you have to do is hover over the email. It may say Dave Scott, but right below it, it says some email you've never even heard of. So unfortunately, or fortunately, however you put it, these common sense can prevail. I'm not calling my HR and telling them to change my thing. I do that in person. Sometimes you just, and laziness too. It's just pick up the phone and call. Dave, did you really want these? Did you really want me to pay this invoice? So they're just trying to gain your trust and gain your confidence. So it's called spoofing, where it just looks like, and it's the easiest thing in the world. Everybody uses, oh, I've been hacked. No, you just didn't use your brains. And I mean that tongue in cheek laughing. Look at the email. You see, it's very easy when you send outbound messages. I can send you a message right now from yourself that'll look like from yourself. You hover over it, you see, oh, it's actually from Kay Siegel. He's playing a joke on me.
Yeah.
But sometimes they catch you in 100 miles an hour and you do it. When in doubt, pick up the phone and call. Again, it goes back to some of our earlier meetings like this where we talk about they also want to get into your network. If they get you to, they gain your confidence and tell you, hey, look at this article that I just wrote or something, and then you click on it, boom, they're sitting in your network. So the easiest thing in the world is to gain your confidence. It's a lot. It's a lot like when they're hustling elderly people. They call you up and they act like you're your friend and doing things, and they get you to trust them, and you really don't know them.
Yeah.
So they engage you in something. So spoofing is the number one, but you're not hacked. All you do is mark it as junk, block it, globally block it, and eventually Microsoft will weed them out, and they get bumped, and they get. That's the number one.
Yeah.
Thing.
Okay. So spoofing, and that's when they pretend to be somebody else with a variation of an email address to get something from you, right?
And typically, it's somebody important in your organization who they're spoofing. So a lot of times, my HR or controller will get a spoof from email from me. So they're usually trying to spoof either the HR or finance person,
okay,
or they're trying to spoof the CEO. Okay. One of those two things, because if they go to the janitor and they're trying to spoof the janitor and they go to, nobody's going to listen, unfortunately. I mean, it's a terrible analogy, but
nothing against janitors.
No.
Yeah. Yep. Makes sense. So what's another type of common cybersecurity attack that businesses have to be aware of? So we talked about spoofing.
Now, keep in mind, these fall under the cybersecurity category, but they're not the bad guys aren't doing anything other than using your common sense against you or lack of common sense. So it does fall under cybersecurity, but a true cybersecurity breach or attack is where they get in your network or they do something malicious. They're just these spoofings, and this phishing is just the tip of the iceberg. So when in doubt, delete, delete, delete. So, but if you're talking about more of these little nuances, it's if they can get a copy or invoice, they'll send an invoice to a vendor. They'll send it in. They'll do anything they can to try to see how they can get into people's networks. And you just got to use common sense. I get them all the time. I get erroneous emails about invoices. I pick up the phone and call, and they're like, "Oh no, we've been hacked," which they weren't hacked. They got spoofed, and then somebody clicked on it. Hacked is where somebody actually gets in your network with a vulnerability, not they guessed your password. It's called compromise. Everybody goes back, I've been hacked. Yeah, well, you use password as your password. That's not being hacked. That's you're stupid. No offense. I'm being so negative today, but I'm just in one of those. I feel good, and I'm just having fun today. So common sense, man. Use passwords. Then nobody. Another big one is FedEx and the government. The government isn't trying. You don't need to call the government because they're giving you money. You don't need to call the government because you owe them money. Yes. They know where you're at. FedEx is trying to locate you from a package. They'll get it. So there's a lot of those where they're spoofing FedEx. The biggest one is the Microsoft updates. Trust me, if you're an NTM customer, we've got it. So when in doubt, just delete or call your service provider and ask them, am I supposed to click on this? Some of the best ones are, this is Microsoft, you're out of compliance. Again, if you hover over the email, it'll be some weird Gmail or something, and you just delete. You don't even delete it, just mark it as junk, and then Microsoft is alerted of it, and then they catch it all of a sudden, and then they globally blacklist it.
So a lot of those are so interesting because now they're using mobile devices to try to infiltrate, right? And what I mean by that is you'll get a text message saying, "Hey, this is Microsoft. You're not compliant. Go here." Or you have a FedEx package or UPS package. Click on this link on your device. Or this is like one that I get as a business owner is it's a robocall, right? So it's like some automated somebody's name. this is the IRS calling about your back taxes. And I'm like, I don't owe any back taxes. And so all of those, or call this number, or go here and click here.
Credit card stuff, or even
Yes.
the warranty on your cars. I mean,
Yes.
under no circumstances are you ever to give out your social security number or any information whatsoever. And don't forget too, sometimes when somebody's calling you, it could be an elaborate scheme where they're calling and just saying, is this Kelly Siegel? Yes, this is Kelly Siegel. And that's about as far as I go. So they start asking, do you own NTM? Who is this? You never know what they use against you or what they're building to try to get. They could ask you, do you have an Escalade? It doesn't matter. Do you live in Bloomfield Hill? No, it doesn't matter. You don't know who that person is. Even if you do, it's none of their business. So they're building a portfolio on you to make you feel like you can trust them and they know about you. But if they call my office and say, hey, I know Kelly, he has an Escalade, he lives in Bloomfield Hill, and then they sound like, oh, he knew everything. Could you give me his cell phone number? So they're very elaborate and very, very smart. But it's common sense. Now, the shameless plug at NTM, we have a test, a phishing test that we can do on anybody if they want us to do it, where we can send out a fake test, just fake email, so to speak, and see how many people click on it. And then we give them a quick training after. It's nothing. We do that for anybody and anybody. It's standard in our offering, but we like to know who's in a hurry and who didn't use common sense.
So what I hear you saying, and it sounds like we have a tool at NTM that we can essentially fake our customers out and find out who in their network might have been compromised or given information, and then report back to them with kind of a bad boy list, right?
Well, it's not might have been compromised. It's who could have been if they clicked, if that had been a real phishing scam. So,
Got it.
It's just a mock phishing and spoofing scam, and it shows what they do. It's very valuable. You see how
cool. I love that.
You see how many people, and the worst part about it is when we run those scans, it's usually the worst person that clicks, the financial person, the people that really could do damage. And it's like, and it's not a knock. We're not there to shame them. We're just there to educate them and help them.
Love it. Kelly, where can people find a little bit more about this white paper and this offer, this cybersecurity offer we talked about earlier?
Dave, actually, I'm going to defer to you. What's the web page that takes you straight to the landing of it?
Yeah, and we'll put the link in the show notes, but it's trustntm.com/offer/OFFER. So the white paper you talked about earlier, if there's a business watching this and you want to be guaranteed that we can solve a lot of your cybersecurity issues once and for all and make sure that you don't get hit, and you want a free dark web assessment, and you want a free network assessment, all on the house, part of NTM's promise to you, go to trustntm.com/offer to learn more. Simple couple things we ask of you, and that's it.
And remember, Dave, one more thing. This is informational purposes only. If you want our help, great. If you don't, just take the tools that we've provided and take it to your current provider, but just hold them accountable. I had somebody that did it and the guy came back and, we're all protected. And then boom, they got hit the next day. It's like, if you would have just did what we said, I'm not doing this for my good health. I'm doing this to help. Go through the things, use the tools. And if for some reason something isn't feeling right with your current provider, call me and I'll help you.
It's like, you got to ask the question. And I feel like in today's society, people just blanketly believe everything that they see on Facebook or on TV, or the government is your friend and here to help you. And I'm not a conspiracy theorist or saying these businesses or organizations are here to hurt you, but a lot of cases they're not here to help you, right? And so we have to ask the question, like, what's the ingredients in our food? What's the stuff in this car that makes it so good or not so good? What's your IT provider doing that they shouldn't be doing? Like, you got to ask these questions for accountability purposes to make sure that you're safe and protected, and make sure that you don't get hit with some sort of ransomware attack that was so silly you could have prevented it.
Two things: out of sight, out of mind. And it's the devil you know versus the devil you don't. So, it's my provider. You've always, but I talked to a lady yesterday. They call and ordered access control video surveillance. I said, if they're opening a new building, I said, what else? Do you need phones? Do you need computers? Oh, no. We've used the same company for years. Well,
Yeah.
it's like insurance. You need to shop it every few years just to make sure. And what happens though is you get two conflicting stories, two opinions, and then they sit there and they don't know what to do, so they get confused. Just do a little research, and if they follow this white paper, everybody, guys gotta remember, we talked to a bunch of CIOs and we talked to a bunch of IT people. This isn't my doing. This is what the whole industry says to do. So it's an industry white paper that says, here's the things you need to look at. And it's fair to ask your current provider to provide these accountability on these steps, because I tell you what, the insurance company's going to, and if the insurance company doesn't, or they haven't, it's because you haven't renewed your policy. And guess what? You ain't covered.
No.
They ain't gonna. I heard it just this week. I was on a call with a bunch of CIOs. $1 million ransom was just paid from a law firm because they didn't ask their IT company these accountability questions.
Oh man.
And it's not only ask them, it's show proof. Because if you ask somebody, they're going to say, oh yeah, we're doing that. Okay, show me proof. And if they can't show you proof, that's telltale right there. It's I can tell you, yes, I'm doing that, but if you don't see proof, then believe that. So just be smart in this world, and it's only going to get worse, Dave.
It is. Oh, for sure.
We only scratched the surface of what these people are going to do. As we become more adamant, this is going to be a huge problem for people. People are going to start using their cell phone against you.
Yeah. So if you're a business and you want to learn the 7 things that your IT provider doesn't want you to know, to your point, Kelly, you got to ask those questions and hold everybody accountable. Goes for ourselves too, right? As well as our IT provider. Check out trustntm.com/offer. We'll get you that white paper. We'll get you a cool graphic that will show you all your devices and how they could potentially be exposed. And we'll sign you up for a free dark web scan and a nice cup of coffee with our handsome CEO, Kelly Siegel.
Happy Friday, guys.
Happy Friday, Kelly. We'll talk to you soon, sir.
Talk to you, bro.